Hey everyone, Dr. Zeo here again, and today we're here to talk about Power Rangers Cosmic Fury Episode 7, Operation Seasoning. As always, we'll start off with our summary, likes, dislikes, and then our conclusion. This episode is all about the Rangers reclaiming Earth from Lord Zed, and to do that, the Rangers utilize the help of Tarek and the Ravkonian resistance squad that he's formed, as well as their spy on the inside, Heckle from the Dino Charge dimension. So Heckle is basically in there wooing Squillia, being her crush or her boyfriend. She basically changed her whole social media, relationship status, I guess, to being in a relationship. Maybe things are complicated between the two of them, but whatever the case may be, she changed her relationship status because she is all about Heckle. Well, Heckle can't get her away from the controls at the Squidrill, so Heckle morphs into the Dino Charge Dark Ranger, has some nice little quips there. He might have been practicing, who knows? But he gets into a fight with Squillia, some Sentinels, and Wizo. Unfortunately, he loses almost immediately. My man puts up a good fight, but he's not good enough for the forces of Lord Zed's army. So the Rangers were counting on Heckle to take down Squillia's Squidrill, so that would take down Lord Zed's force field around Earth. They could penetrate, they can come into the Earth with the Cosmic Fury Megazord as well as the Cosmic Dragon Megazord. Well, that didn't work out too well, so now the Zords crash land onto Earth, and unfortunately at that point, all the Rangers except for Zeto and Ion get captured. Zeto and Ion go to the Resistance, and basically, before that, Zeto uses his magic to teleport the Zords back into the Morphin Grid so they can self-repair. He passes out, then they go to the Resistance, and Zeto basically tells Ion and Solon that the Morphin Masters brought him back and basically imbued him with magic, their own magic, and whenever he does something magical, whether it's searching for Solon like in the last episode, fighting with his magic powers against Ollie in the last episode, or in this episode where he uses magic to send the Zords back into the grid, anytime he uses his magic, he's expelling some of that energy. Once that energy is all gone, he's gone too. That's it for my man. He's dead at that point. But he makes everyone, Solon and Ion, promise that they won't tell the other Rangers because this is personal for him and he doesn't want to worry them. Meanwhile, Pop-Pop comes in. He's like, hey, I got these Zord transporters or these transport things from General Shaw at Grid Battle Force. We can use that to transport one of the Squidrills into, or get it to crash land on top of one of Lord Zed's prisons, which has a shield around it, a force field basically. And then the force field will blow up the Squidrill and disable the network so that they can go ahead and get the Zords activated and get these prisons evacuated. And all that works. Basically, the rest of the plan is Zeto turning Solon Giant as a diversion, and then Ion setting the transporters strategically around Pine Ridge, or basically around the Squidrill. They teleport the Squidrill, the plan works, Zeto passes out, Solon teleports Zeto back to the base so he can recuperate. Then the Rangers, basically the Cosmic Fury Rangers minus Zeto, and then Heckle, Tarek, and Billy all fight Squillia, Wizo, and some Sentinels. Then the Cosmic Fury Rangers go off into to go basically destroy the Squidrills because they keep creating an infinite. They use Earth's resources to create an infinite army of Sentinels, and we can't have that in this fight. And it leads us to some really good fights we'll get into here in a second. But basically, they end up beating Lord Zed's forces here. They reclaim Earth. And on the flip side of things, basically, Tarek ends up destroying Wizo, and they end up capturing Squillia with some sleepy cuffs. And then that's basically the end of the episode. Let's go ahead and talk about my likes. So, my likes for the episode, and there are quite a bit. Seeing Zeto using his Morphin Master powers or his magic abilities is always fun. I like seeing the CG there. Plus, we're able to progress this whole storyline and with the whole mystery behind Zeto's revival in this episode. We get to learn that there is a specific cost, as you've probably guessed, to Zeto using his, let's call them Morphin Master magic powers at this point, and that he only has so much he can do until he's expelled all the energy, and this might end with Zeto dying again. I mean, I know I wanted this to go exactly in this route, but saying goodbye to Zeto again, it's going to be sad, but I'm glad that the Rangers might get a chance to actually say a proper goodbye to their former leader and their friend this time around. Um, I'd I'll talk more about a dislike here in just a second. Heckle's quips when he was fighting Umwizo, the Sentinels, and Sklolia were pretty good. They ask him about where he came from, and basically he tells them, I'm from the Dino Charge dimension. I went through a classic, redemption arc, and then eventually became a ranger. I thought that was funny. It shows that Heckle still got quips, and Becca, Alwyn, Simon, everyone else involved, they can still write Heckle to be Heckle. It's nice that they brought him back because it's a character that they are familiar with. Ion and Solon objecting to Zeto using his magic to help the resistance was also a good scene because as Ion tells them less than 5 minutes ago, we just learned that you using your magic means that you're going to die eventually if we don't find the Morphomasters and have them help you out and replenish your magic or do something to make it so you don't die. And as I've said before many times at this point, I do love Ranger drama, and this just increases the stakes behind the season, increases the urgency behind finding the Morphomasters so that we can help repair Zeto, so to speak, and replenish his magic so that he doesn't end up dying by the season finale. Speaking of Zeto, him using his magic to turn Solon into a giant was dope. I mentioned this last season in my Dino Fury Season 2 review, as well as in my Dino Fury Season 1 review, but I always support Solon helping out the Rangers in any way she can on the battlefield, whether that's her actually fighting Slider in Season 1 or in Season 2 where she piloted the Dino Fury cycle, to now when she's actually going giant and stomping on some Sentinels. Always here for it. I'm always happy when they utilize Solon in those exciting ways because she's more than just an ally. She's more than just an alpha figure or a pseudo mentor to the Rangers. She's someone who's very capable of fighting on her own. I'm glad that Dino Fury or Cosmic Fury, doesn't forget about that. I would have loved to see Solon become a Ranger. That would have been a best case scenario because it also shows that non-human characters can become Rangers. I mean, we've had non-human characters. There was Xenowing and Dino Charge, but it just shows that more non-human characters can become Rangers. That would have been a nice little important message about diversity to have there in the final season, but I didn't go into this season expecting Solon to become an Orange Ranger or any vacant colored Ranger in the cast. But to see her actually participate in the fight, I'm happy about that. I'm always happy about that. Speaking about people who help the Rangers, though, Tarek leading the resistance, getting his own fight was hella dope. Like, I did not expect to see Tarek fighting Sentinels, Umwizo, anyone in this season. So for that to actually happen made me super happy. I love Tarek in Season 1 and 2 of Dino Fury. I loved seeing him fighting as Void Knight. We know that he's a very capable fighter. So to see that he hasn't forgotten any of his fighting abilities and he's still able to really put it down, or to throw down, so to speak, in these fights without the Void Knight armor, without any sort of augmentation, is dope as hell. Him taking out Umwizo by himself, bravo, Tarek. Bravo, you are a king in every sense of that word. Absolutely love you, dude. Speaking of Tarek, though, I haven't mentioned this yet, but Amelia's been calling Tarek dad throughout the season, and I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it, because Dino Fury Season 2, after the mega reveal that Tarek and Santora were her parents, she called Santora mom almost immediately, but she still called Tarek and never really called him dad within the last 2 episodes. So to see that Amelia in that 6-month time gap, and well, I guess after the Dino Fury finale, has taken to calling Tarek dad is nice. It shows a little bit of progress in their relationship, and it shows that she sees him not just as Tarek or not just as Void Knight, but as an actual father figure, and I applaud that evolution of their relationship. Also, last like of this episode was there was a moment where we're panning by one of the prison centers, and one of the Sentinels says, Lord Zed is first, always, so to learn your ZYXs at any re-education facility. And that's so bizarre, but those are the kind of background lines in Power Rangers that are super funny if you can catch them on the first go around or even catching them on future watchers. They just add so much to these episodes. I absolutely love them. It's also a really good argument to listening or watching these episodes with headphones on because you can more easily catch those background lines. So again, bravo to the writers for that. But let's go ahead and talk about my dislikes, of which I just have two. First one being the Zord CGI in this episode was bad. Specifically the Megazord CGI. So when the Rangers are coming down into the Earth's atmosphere with the Cosmic Fury Megazord and the Cosmic Dragon Megazord, that looked bad. They were super stiff. The Zords just looked like action figures that were just kind of descending on the Earth. They didn't move at all. Like, they could have done something there. Like, that just, that's not it. Especially after all the good CGI in this season so far, that was not it. On the flip side of things, let's talk about Fern's Ranger suit. I love Fern being a Ranger. That's fantastic. On the flip side of things, let's go ahead and talk about Fern's Ranger suit. While I love Fern being a Ranger, what I don't like is that her Ranger suit as the Orange Cosmic Fury Ranger is just a recoloring of Amelia's suit. We've talked about this before. Well, I don't know if I've talked about this, but you've definitely seen the conversation here on various Ranger Nation circles on Twitter, Facebook, Ranger Board, all those places. But I want to weigh in on this now that I've actually seen the suit in action. As someone who's colorblind, if you've watched my videos, you know that I'm colorblind. If you haven't, surprise, I'm colorblind. It's difficult for me to tell Amelia and Fern's Ranger suits apart when they're together because they're so similar in color. That orange is a very reddish shade of orange, and so it's very easy for me to get her confused with Amelia, especially because we have moments in the episode where they're in the Megazord, so you have them both sitting down. I'm just looking at them. Now, the helmets are different. Fern's helmet has like a triangular spike formation, whereas Amelia's helmet doesn't have that. And that's really the only way I'm able to tell the difference between Fern and Amelia's Ranger suits. Without that, I'd be blind as a bat. I don't like that. I wish it had not been just a simple recolor of Amelia's Ranger suit. I mean, it's also down to the fact that Amelia has like a silver part to her chest all the way down into her skirt. They even copied that over to Fern's Ranger suit. At the very least, don't copy that element. Just keep it just a normal suit with a skirt. That's fine. That's an easy way to distinguish, okay, at a moment's notice, I know that they might look similar, but the one without that silver stripe is definitely Fern. The one with the silver stripe is Amelia. Super easy way to distinguish the two. But because you copied that element too, it just makes it more difficult for me to tell who's who at a moment's notice. I wish they had made this maybe a brighter shade of orange, or at the very least, if not going for an orange ranger, maybe going for like a turquoise ranger or some other available color so that she stands out more in the crowd. But that's just my opinion there. Speaking of Fern, I do want to talk about one more like, and that's her weapon. So her weapon is basically like Solon's claws and like, I don't know, a staff kind of. And in this episode, it's revealed that she can turn that staff into nunchucks. And that's dope. Because we had nunchucks in Dino Fury Season 2 with Zeto nunchucks that got used for all one episode. Hopefully Fern uses her nunchucks for more than one episode. But seeing her weapon have a secondary functionality was cool. Because none of the other weapons get a secondary functionality. So props to Fern for having that. Well, I guess Ions can be used as a blaster and a sword. He's mostly used as a sword up to this point. And Javi's can technically be used as a guitar, as we've seen in previous episodes, so that's not exactly true. But hers being used as a nunchuck, having an actual different formation, makes it more obvious as to what sex. It makes the two functionalities more distinct, and I love that. I absolutely love that. But that's really all I have to talk about. Let's go ahead and jump into conclusion. As always, I'm just going to read it here straight from my script. Though their initial plan to set people free failed, the Rangers were able to right their stumble with some help from Zeto's new abilities. The cost of Zeto's newfound magic has been revealed, increasing the urgency behind finding the Morphin Masters before Zeto dies again. Additionally, we've got Heckle back, and with the Ranger powers he deserved all those years ago. With this, and Tarek fighting some grunts and generals, we've experienced some good payoff in this episode. So really, yeah, that's all I have to say about this episode. Even with those likes and not dislikes, that is, not liking the CGI and not being too big of a fan of Fern's Ranger suit itself, this is still a great episode of Cosmic Fury, and we've got, what, 3 more episodes down at this point, so I can't wait to see how their plan progresses and what they do with Squillia to get more information out of her. But until next time, I'm Dr. Zeto. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, like the audio, do whatever you can to share this because it does help with the YouTube algorithm and the algorithm outside of YouTube as well. But thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Zeto, and I will see you all in the next one. Hope you have a good night, good day, good evening, where you are listening to this or watching the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Ciao.